She was full of hope, fierce dreams, and a vision of helping others. But one cold winter day in Madrid, she vanished, quietly with no goodbye. Her phone went silent. Her apartment stood still. And what followed would raise chilling questions about control, deception, and betrayal. Her name is Ana Maria Knežević now. A daughter, a sister, an entrepreneur, a woman on the cusp of a new chapter. She had relocated to Madrid at the end of 2023. She envisioned a brighter life, one where she could use her experience, her resources, her passion to help other women who suffered abuses. But instead, she became a missing person, and her disappearance set off a cascade of uneasy clues. Someone tampered with cameras. Someone sent messages from her phone that sounded wrong. Someone bought spray paint, duct tape, rental cars, license plates. Reports emerged of a man in a helmet, of surveillance cameras being blacked out, of doors being locked in ways that forbade escape. Was this fleeing or was this force? Was there consent or was there captivity? Her estranged husband is now charged with kidnapping. Authorities believe messages were orchestrated, devices manipulated, trails covered. Yet no body has been found. No confirmed final sighting. Only speculations, broken communication, and a question haunting everyone who cared about her. Where is Ana? In this documentary, we will trace her life, her last known movements, the disturbing hints that cautioned those who knew her, the painstaking investigation that followed, and the heart-wrenching toll of ambiguity. Because Ana's disappearance is more than a mystery. It's a warning. And to understand what truly happened, we must follow every thread. Ana Maria Knežević now was born in Colombia, naturalized as an American citizen, a woman whose heart carried compassion, who built bridges for others long before tragedy knocked. She was 40 years old in early 2024, and during the years she lived in Florida, she juggled family, work, dreams, always with a steady hand. She had a successful tech business along with her husband, David Knežević. She helped run the company in Fort Lauderdale, oversaw operations, and shared many responsibilities. But to those close to her, what mattered more than her success was her kindness. Her younger brother Felipe recalls she paid for his travel, supported him when he volunteered, gifted him equipment for studies, encouraged him relentlessly. She believed in lifting people up. She loved culture, art, travel, connections. She spoke of wanting to do something meaningful in Europe. In late 2023, as her marriage drew to a fracture, she chose Madrid as her new home. Not just an escape but opportunity. She wanted to start a non-profit to support women who had endured abuse or been trapped by control. She was determined, hopeful, resolved to start anew. Her separation from David was not amicable. They had been married for 13 years. Assets, real estate, the business, all those material threads weighed heavy. But also, so did fear. Friends say she voiced concern that things were not safe. She spoke of awkward behavior, monitoring, emotional pressure. Yet she also believed in fairness, in law, in being heard. She believed that this new chapter could be one of freedom. She had friends who checked in daily. She had routines. Calls to brother Felipe, messages to close friend Sana. She loved small things. Her pet, the idea of settling into Madrid, exploring neighborhoods, planning a trip to Barcelona. Nothing in her nature suggested she wanted to disappear. She wanted clarity, safety, peace. Her disappearance would shock her family because she was the kind who showed up for others. The kind who believed that even after storms you could rebuild. The kind who, until her last days of contact, acted like she believed she could. December 27, 2023. Ana arrived in Madrid. She checked into a small apartment in the Salamanca neighborhood, an elegant district known for its wide avenues, stylish shops, and daylight that lingers. She was carrying baggage both literal and symbolic, luggage of dreams, determination, and a desire to be heard on her own terms. In the weeks that followed, she settled in. She explored local cafes, made friends, worked quietly on her plans for the nonprofit. She stayed in daily contact with her family and her close circle. Her brother spoke with her, she spoke with Sana. Nothing seemed extraordinary, except when she mentioned feeling watched or uneasy. But those were small, whispering fears, always overshadowed by her determination to move forward. On the afternoon of February 2, 2024, Anna was seen on security camera entering her building around 2:30 p.m. She looked normal. There were errands, perhaps work, perhaps planning for upcoming travel. She was supposed to meet a friend in Barcelona in a few days. That morning or early afternoon phone calls were exchanged. She laughed with her friend, as she did most days. She spoke of places to visit. She asked about plans abroad. By nightfall, however, something changed. At approximately 9:27 p.m., a man wearing a motorcycle helmet was captured on surveillance entering Anna's apartment building. Authorities allege this person resembled Anna's estranged husband, David. Shortly after entering, he spray-painted the lens of the exterior security camera. Then, a piece of duct tape was fastened over the lock of the entrance, preventing it from locking properly, granting him ability to re-enter. Around an hour later, the same man emerged from an elevator carrying a suitcase. Something about those moments didn't sit right with those who knew Anna. When she did not respond to texts that night, concern began to flicker. The next day, messages were sent from her phone, oddly worded, in English in one case, Spanish in another, claiming she had met a man and was going away for a few days to a summer house. The tone, her friends later said, was not her. Emotionless. Some might dismiss such text messages as missent or misunderstood. But for those who loved Anna, this was the moment routines cracked. The last time anyone would see her face, truly her own, in familiar form. From normal life to alarm, from trust to dread. When the messages came in the next day, Anna's best friend, Sana Remo, realized something was off. The text sounded unlike Anna. The warmth was missing. The phrasing, the voice. Sana didn't believe Anna would snatch up with a stranger, leave without warning. She tried calling, messaging, checking in. No reply. That silence felt unnatural. Her family was notified. Juan and Felipe, and now her brothers, grew increasingly worried. They reached out to Spanish authorities. They spoke with friends. They reviewed her last known movements. They checked the apartment. But something was missing. Her phone, her laptop, her chargers, important personal items disappeared along with her. Police in Madrid opened a missing person investigation. They reviewed security camera footage. On February 2nd, the footage showed Anna entering her apartment building at 2:30 p.m. Then, just before 9:30 p.m., the helmeted man enters, tampers with cameras, blocks the lock. After an hour inside, suitcase in hand, he leaves via elevator. Anna is not seen exiting with him. Investigators discovered that the spray paint used to disable the camera matched paint sold among Crime Supply in Madrid, and that a local retailer had sold that same brand of spray paint plus 2 rolls of duct tape to a man resembling David Nezevich on the same day. Meanwhile, attempts to reach Anna grew more urgent. Her friends, family, and finally U.S. agencies joined the search. Authorities examined records, phone records, digital messages, geolocation pings. They noticed discrepancies. The texts from her phone were inconsistent with her usual style. The times did not align. Some messages came from areas far from her apartment, and some devices, her charger's laptop, vanished from view. The apartment was searched. There were no signs of struggle inside, no clear blood evidence made public, but the removal of her personal items pointed to premeditation. Authorities also found that the man in the helmet had tampered with the surveillance system that same night. As day followed day, hope mingled with dread. Every hour without news raised stakes higher. Anna's story stopped being only a disappearance. It became a crime scene in pieces, each clue that surfaced more disturbing than the last. It was early February 2024 when multiple agencies came together. Spanish National Police, US FBI, Colombian authorities, local Madrid investigators, to trace every path, every device, every message. Security and surveillance. Footage was critical. Building cameras captured Anna's entrance at 2:30 p.m. and identified the helmeted man around 9:27 p.m. Spray paint was used to partially block the camera's view. The lock on the entrance was duct taped to remain open. Surveillance showed the same man later exiting the elevator with a suitcase. These images, when analyzed, suggested planning rather than impulsivity. Compare frames, timestamps, angles. Each detail painstakingly logged. Meanwhile, the retailer in Madrid selling that spray paint and duct tape confirmed a purchase by a man resembling Anna's husband. Matching build, approximate height, facial structure. Transaction records, video from the shop, timestamps. All aligned with the timeline investigators pieced together. Digital trail. Anna was in regular contact with her family and friends until February 2nd. Around her disappearance, messages were sent from her phone, supposedly written by her. One read, "I met someone wonderful. We are going to his summer house 2 hours from Madrid. Signal is spotty. I will call when I get back." Delivered to one friend in English. Another friend got a similar message in Spanish. The messages were later shown to have been translated with external help. Investigators discovered that the estranged husband had requested a Colombian woman he met online to translate these messages into perfect Colombian Spanish. These messages later appeared identical when sent from Anna's phone. Geolocation data, phone pings, license plate readers. All revealed the rented car associated with David was driven long distances. The Peugeot rented in Serbia reportedly was driven nearly 4,800 miles, 7,700 kilometers. Windows tinted, stickers removed, license plates swapped. Tales of toll booth cameras in Madrid seeing a matching vehicle with stolen plates. Behavior and motive. Divorce battles had been intense. Financial stakes were high. The business, real estate, profits, all under dispute. Friends say Anna had asked for equitable division of assets. David apparently resisted. Legal documents show she had been planning to move forward, to live independently. She dreamt of her non-profit work. She expressed fears. She felt uneasy. These are pieces of motive. Those motives, combined with evidence, formed a dangerous intersection. Purchases and preparations. The complaint alleges that on February 2nd, the same day she was last seen, a man, believed to be David, bought spray paint and duct tape, the very items used to disable surveillance and modify access. Retailer video confirms purchase. License plates stolen from a car on Anna Street were later seen at toll booths, matching the description of the rented vehicle when windows were tinted, plates swapped. Legal charges and arrest. On May 4, 2024, David Nezevich was arrested at Miami International Airport by U.S. federal agents. He is charged with kidnapping in connection to Anna's February disappearance. Authorities believe she is dead, although no body has been found. He was held without bond. He pleaded not guilty in hearings. Defense maintains alibi, that he was in Serbia at the time. Prosecutors counter with surveillance, car rental records, statements, phone logs. The pressure mounted. His flight risk was considered high. Legal filings described concerns about jurisdiction, financial assets, escape. As investigators continued, new allegations surfaced. Impersonation, someone using Anna's identity to open bank accounts or close policies, cancellation of insurances, disappearance of important personal objects. Authorities collected all these threads, weaving them into the formal criminal complaint. Each clue drilled deeper into what many fear. This was not a disappearance. This was an abduction, possibly worse. From the very beginning, David Nezevich loomed large as a suspect. He was Anna's husband, with knowledge of her routines, resources, finances, and vulnerabilities. The divorce, the disputes, the emotional distance, these provided motive. But investigators needed more than motive. They needed proof. The breakthrough came in small but critical ways. surveillance footage, purchase receipts, license plate reader logs, text and translation evidence, physical evidence from retail stores. The paint and duct tape purchases tied to his identity and approximate appearance. The stolen license plates from an area near Anna's street turned up in toll records. The vehicle, rented in Serbia, traveled thousands of miles, had its windows tinted and identifiers removed. These details matched with suspicious behavior around the time of her disappearance. Witnesses also played a role. The Colombian woman who met David online was asked to translate messages that later appeared on Anna's phone. When she discovered that those messages coincided with news articles of the disappearance, she alerted authorities. Friends who had known Anna's style said the messages did not sound like her. These human voices were important. Pattern recognition of personality, style, tone. Authorities also established sequence: purchase of spray paint, disabling security camera, tampering with entrance lock, exit via elevator, removal of personal items. Combined with digital records, the timeline was consistent and incriminating. Prosecutors alleged that on the day Anna disappeared, David Knežević orchestrated a series of acts: suppression of evidence, impersonation, manipulation of communication, all the while making it appear as though Anna had chosen to leave. Legal proceedings moved forward. In May 2024, David was arrested, charged with kidnapping and other offenses in connection to Anna's disappearance. A judge denied him bond, citing concerns he might flee, given his wealth, international ties, and travel history. The case, though still with many unanswered questions, had taken shape. Investigators were confident that they had turned a narrative from speculation to substantial evidence. As of this moment, there has been no trial verdict in Anna's case that confirms what became of her. In federal filings, David Knežević has pleaded not guilty to the kidnapping charges. Prosecutors have presented a detailed criminal complaint filled with evidence of intent, premeditation, manipulation, and deception. The defense has maintained his innocence, presenting an alibi, questioning jurisdiction, and challenging the interpretation of digital and video evidence. However, a devastating development occurred. In April 2025, David Knežević was found dead in a Miami jail. Official reports say he died by suicide while awaiting trial. His death has left many pieces of the case unresolved. Anna has never been found. The question of where, of how, of what truly transpired remains unanswered in court. The family remains in limbo, searching not only for answers but for closure. Anna's disappearance has stirred international attention. Her family, her brothers, close friends, have pressed for action, visibility, support. They've become advocates for missing persons, for victims of domestic conflict, for those caught in cross-border legal gaps. Posters, press conferences, online appeals, cooperation between U.S., Spanish, Colombian law enforcement, all mobilize in hope. Though no body has been recovered, Anna's legacy lives in those who loved her. Her vision for helping abused women, her courage to change her life, her insistence on fairness and dignity. She remains missing but not forgotten. Her case is teaching lessons about how technology can be manipulated, how divorces with money and power can hide danger, how anonymity and geography can complicate justice, and how sometimes the truth demands relentless pursuit, even in the face of uncertainty. Anna Maria Knežević's story is not just a mystery, it is a warning. Silence can be manufactured, distance can be enforced, trust can be violated in the most intimate ways. And sometimes what looks like escape is betrayal. If this case moved you, please like and subscribe for more true crime stories that demand justice, that remember the victims, that refuse to let stories like this fade. Share this video. You never know who might hold a clue, who might have noticed something, who might have power to search. If you or someone you know is in danger, especially in situations involving controlling behavior, financial disputes, or threats, reach out. Speak to friends. Contact authorities. Use helplines. You deserve safety. You deserve to be heard. Until next time, Stay aware, stay empathetic, stay vigilant. Because in Anna's name, we must believe that even when someone disappears, truth can be found.